What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Fantasy Puck video. I'm your host Mike, and today's video is going to be a good one, the must draft centers video. There are some extremely good valued centers in this year's draft, so you're going to want to listen in. Guys, before we jump in, make sure you like the video, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and follow us on Twitter at fantasy_puck. If you want access to all of our premium tools, our draft sheet, projections, rankings, trade analyzer, and more, click that link in our description. Without further ado, here is the must draft centers video. Starting this video off with one of our favorite players this season, Vincent Trocheck of the New York Rangers. Trocheck spent the last 3 seasons in Carolina where he flourished, and he signed with the Rangers in the offseason to fill that center 2 role with the departure of Ryan Strome. He will now find himself skating beside one of the league's top point producing players in Artemi Panarin, and will likely be a force in that Rangers top power play unit. Speaking of the Rangers power play unit, any guesses on where they ranked in terms of power play unit production in the league last season? If you guessed number 1, you're correct. The Panarin, Strome, Zib, Kreider, and Fox combination had a 97.6% goals for percentage and scored a total of 40 goals as a committee. Trocheck is the likely candidate to fill the role in the bumper spot, previously owned by Ryan Strome, giving him a massive increase in point production. Let's talk a little bit about Strome's 2021 season. 81 games, 51 points, a plus 21 rating, 168 shots, 680 faceoff wins, and 185 hits. He contributed to every category and at a high level for his position. Trocheck was one of just 2 centers to score at least 50 points, take at least 150 shots, and have at least 150 hits. This is elite company for a guy who's being drafted at ADP 157. You can safely take Trocheck as your center 2 or center 3 with the upside to finish easily in the top 100 or even the top 75. I love Trocheck this year, and his ceiling's very high when skating with Artemi Panarin. Moving on to our next must-draft center, I warned you in the Sleepers video that I'm going to be talking very highly of Sam Bennett this season. Bennett was pretty much a penny stock when skating with the Flames, and he's now trading in the $10 to $15 range, yet still undervalued relative to his peers. In 81 games since being traded to Florida, Bennett has recorded 34 goals, 64 points, 280 shots, a plus 39 rating, and 148 hits. I did see a comment on one of my earlier videos about Bennett not playing with Huberdeau this season, and I do agree this may affect his production, but he's still slotted to skate in the top 6 on one of the league's most offensive teams. Not only will Bennett play in the top 6, but he will also play on the Panthers' top power play unit, where I expect a lot of his damage to be done. In the regular season, Florida's power play scored the 3rd most goals, trailing only the Blues and the Avs. Although it may falter a bit with the loss of Huberdeau, I still expect it to be near the top of the league. Now, let's shift back to Bennett's 2021 season. For centerman, Bennett ranked 5th for shots per 60, 8th for individual goals for per 60, and had the 3rd highest individual scoring chances for per 60 rate. He is a machine when it comes to producing scoring chances, and this will ultimately lead to better point production. At ADP 143, Bennett is falling a considerable amount in drafts, and you have to remember, he's the center 2 and will play on the top power play unit for the Panthers this season, and I expect him to be their biggest breakout player. Did you really think I would leave out Jack Hughes in this video? Probably not, and you guessed it, Hughes is our next must-draft center. Arguably one of the best value players this season, with the upside to be a league winner, Hughes' ADP is despicable this season, making him a priority in all drafts. We loved Hughes last season, and prior to injury, he was in the midst of a breakout. After scoring just 11 goals and 31 points in 2020, Hughes smashed all of his career highs last season, scoring 26 goals and 56 points in 49 games, giving him a 44-goal, 94-point, 82-game pace. Those numbers would put Hughes at the top of the league, but at ADP 97 this season, where does that make any sense? His rates last year were unbelievable. For 5-on-5, Hughes had the 7th best shots per 60, the 9th best goals per 60, and the 10th best points per 60 among centers. If we include all strengths, Hughes had the 11th best points per 60, the 8th best goals per 60, and the 8th best shots per 60. I know, a lot of information, but I just want to emphasize that Hughes is the next rising star in the league. The Devils weren't really that competitive last season. Dougie was out for a good chunk of the season, but we're confident they're going to be very competitive this year. They have a solid top 9 with a ton of high upside players. Dougie's a top-end defenseman looking to rebound, and I anticipate them to be a fringe playoff team. Hughes is going to have a massive role, likely exceeding his 19 minutes and 34 seconds average time on ice last season, and building off of his great 2021 season. We project Hughes to play 74 games this season, scoring 34 goals, 87 points, and adding 219 shots. I would take Hughes in round 4 or 5, depending on the start of your draft, and he may end up as a top 10 to 20 player this season. It's going to be hard to follow up after the Jack Hughes segment, but I think you'll like the next guy. The next must-own center from the Dallas Stars is Roope Hintz, or as some of you may know him as, Day-to-Day Hintz. The backstory behind that nickname is in 2020, where he was day-to-day or a game-time decision in pretty much every single game for the entire season. Please tell me in the comments if you remember the pain of owning him that year. Although injured in 2020, he still recorded over a point per game pace with 15 goals and 43 points in 41 games at a 30-goal, 82-game pace. Hintz smashed his career highs the year after, following off-season surgery, where he played in 81 games, scored 37 goals, 72 points, added 24 power play points, and 213 shots. Just an outstanding season for him, as the Hintz, Pavelski, Robertson line carried the Stars to the playoffs. Hintz increased his shot rate to 8.9 shots per 60 from 7.4 the season prior, and his goal rate to 1.5 per 60. Hintz had the 8th best goals per 60 among centers last season, the 11th best individual scoring chances for per 60, and the 11th best individual high danger chances for per 60. He was producing chances at an extremely high level, and we anticipate him to continue or exceed these rates in 2022. Based on MoneyPuck.com's expected goals for rating, the Robertson Hintz Pavelski line had the second best expected goals for at 43.3, behind only the Gaudreau Lindholm Tkachuk trio. Not only that, they had the 5th best expected goals for per 60 rate at 3.28, and the 7th best expected goals against per 60 rate, meaning they are elite both offensively and defensively. Based on our projections, we have Hintz playing 72 games this season, scoring 30 goals, 63 points, adding 180 shots and 88 hits. This is a conservative projection because he does have injury history, but if he can stay healthy for all 82, he can be in for a big season. There's so much to love from Hintz this season, and at ADP 133, you can grab him in the 8th or 9th round for 5th or 6th round value. We are now down to the final must-draft center, and as always, let me know in the comments who I may have missed. The final must-draft center for this video is Dylan Larkin of the Detroit Red Wings. Larkin may lead the league in preseason sleepers. It seems like every other season he's extremely undervalued and then has a mediocre season or gets hurt, but everything seems to be pointing in the right direction this year. Larkin regained form in 2021 after a disappointing 2020 season. He played just 44 games in 2020, recording 9 goals and 23 points at a 6.7% shooting percentage. Larkin followed that up with 2021 with a massive 31-goal, 69-point campaign in just 71 games. He also added 221 shots and won 630 faceoffs. As many of you know, the new and improved Red Wings roster is looking to make a name for themselves, and Larkin's going to be the focal point of their offense. They now have a solidified number 1 defenseman, Moritz Seider, an elite first-line winger in Lucas Raymond, and a very capable top 6 with the offseason additions in Andrew Kopp and David Perron. Larkin has averaged over 90 minutes and 30 seconds time on ice in all of the last 5 seasons, and we project him to skate over 20 minutes per night this year. I think the main reason why people hold off on drafting Larkin is because of his plus-minus, the worst category in fantasy, but still relevant. Larkin is at a career minus 85, and last season he was a minus 18. They now have a legitimate starting goalie in Ville Husso, and adding some depth to the back end with Ben Chiarot, the Wings are going to be legit contenders this season. I had to scroll pretty far down the list to find him, but Larkin's current ADP is at 145, and he's being drafted in the late 12th round. We project him to play 74 games this season, scoring 28 goals and 65 points and taking 218 shots. His floor alone is very intriguing. I would take him in the 9th or 10th round as a solid center 2 or center 3 option. That'll do it for a must-draft centers video. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one.